First, if the word is of similar characters to the word in the contract and does not significantly change the word quantity, the valuation should be based on the rate and the price in the contract. This one is more straightforward. It is when we have clear guidance in terms of the rates and the price, which was originally agreed in the contract, maybe for the other work. Now these variations were quite similar in terms of the characters as well as the quantities of the work. Then we have a good reference based on what has already been agreed. The relevant price and rates will be adopted. Normally, this will not be any argument and dispute between the contractors and the employer. Next, if the work is of a similar characters to the work in the contract, that means the variation words is quite similar to any part of the word in the contract. However, there are still some differences within the work. It is either not executed under the similar conditions, or it is executed under similar conditions, but there is a significant difference in terms of the quantities of the work. Under these circumstances, we cannot fully adopt the rate and the price in the contract. This might not be fair to the contractor because the conditions difference may incur additional costs. Same principles. When the conditions is different, it may also favorable to the contractor, make it cheaper to the contractor, and as a result, may lead to better profit of the contractor. And this is going to be unfair to the employer. Or probably the conditions is similar, but there will be significant change in the quantities of the work carried out. This may also result in slight changes in terms of the cost of the constructions. In order to resolve this, the valuation should be based on the rate and the price in the contract for the works with similar character, with some fair adjustment to the rate, so that no one party is taking advantage over the other. This will have to based on the wisdom of the persons to be in charge with the valuations, either the quantity surveyor or the architect. Next, if the work is not of similar characters to the work in the contract, that means we have no references, the variations word is totally different, none of the word in the contract has a similar character as per the variations word. In this case, we do not have any guidance in terms of the price and the rate. Now there is no agreed price and the rate between the contractors and the employer. To be fair for both sides, there will be fair market value and price determined by the quantity surveyor. Having this, there shouldn't be disagreement and dispute between the price to be charged by the contractors for the work being done. And as a result, we do not need an additional agreement in terms of the price and the rate for this part of the work. As it is commonly understood, whichever price to be charged to the employer will be based on the fair market values. Next, if the relevant work cannot be properly measured or valued, now this kind of work is either too complex to be measured or valued, or due to whatever reason, it cannot possibly be properly measured and valued, then the valuation should be based on the day work rate in the contract. That means some mechanism will have to come out for quantification purpose. Since that we cannot measure the quantities of the work or quantities of the material involved, the quantifications can be based on the numbers of the days to carry out relevant works. and the dates are given in the contract, most likely under the schedule of rate. This is only provided when the day work rate is given. In the case that no day work rate is given in the contract, that means under these circumstances, there is no common ground as agreed by the contractors and the employer in terms of the cost of the work. As a result, the contractor will be entitled to claim for the actual cost plus 15% of the actual cost. That means this 15%, it will be the profit to the contractor for the work being done by the contractor. That means the contractor cannot charge more than this 15%. And of course, the contractor is also unwilling to be paid less than this 15%. Since that it is clearly stated here, by the time formations of the contract, it is deemed already agreed by both sides, and the quantity surveyor or the architect may implement accordingly. In general, this happens only when the relevant work cannot be quantified. The first option is the quantifications based on the numbers of the day, and the relevant work rate for the day will be adopted for valuations. In the case that it is not given, then the valuations will be based on the actual cost of the contractor plus 15% profit. Next is about the item omitted. That means whichever being stated in the contract, now the changes made is by omitting some part of the work. As a result, the total amount of work has reduced. Theoretically, contractor cannot be paid for the works not being done. Therefore, when there are items omitted, the amount payable to the contractor should theoretically be reduced. Now the question is how to quantify that reduction. This one is quite straightforward. When the item is omitted, that means the relevant amount has been reduced or totally omitted. There was a price already stated in the contract for that particular work, and this price has been agreed between the contractors and the employer. As long as you can quantify the amount of the work omitted based on the rate and the price in the contract, the amount of cost can easily be deducted from the work. This is provided that the relevant omissions does not significantly vary the work conditions. Let's say now if this omitted item substantially vary the work conditions, which will result in the unit price or the rate of the work to be significantly deviated from the rate and the price as per in the contract. Subtractions based on the rates and the price in the contract might not be accurate. As a result, the cost of the work shall be based on the price of the items being done, which is the price of the remaining items. The principle is the contractors cannot be paid for the work not being done, and the contractor can only claim for the work that has been done. If the omissions substantially vary the work conditions, which could result in different rates and the price, the amount of work being done will have to be valued based on the new rate and the price as reasonable. Next, in the case that involve remeasurements of the provisional quantities, which is done by the QS based on the actual quantity executed, the valuations will be based on the rate and the price of the contract. Remember what is the meaning of the provisional quantities? It is when the nature of the work is confirmed, just that the quantity cannot be determined at that moment during the formations of the contract. So theoretically, the rate and the price are clearly stated. Then, based on the relevant rate and the price, the contractor will be paid based on the actual quantities executed. This is about the valuations rules for the variations, which is claimable to provisional sum. For more precise statement, you will need to read into the clause 11.6, their subclause and the subcomponents. As the statements are rather complex, you may need to read between the lines to fully understand that. Otherwise, you may refer to the tables given here.